welcome back to Spellbound. I'm BJ the Book Witch, and this is my 2021 wrap-up. So 2021 certainly wasn't 2020, which I think we can all agree was just a scooter to the ankle, but it did bring with it some major changes. First and foremost, I got a new job. Still writing, but with a new company. And I got this new job about 4 months after I set a pretty lofty reading goal of 200 books. In a grieving and delirious post-2020 January stupor, that goal did not seem as extraordinary as it turned out to be. And I'm not gonna lie, twice this past year I did have to phone it in and read a few children's books to make the numbers work. But I don't consider that cheating, because my brother and his wife did have a beautiful baby girl this past year, and I, as her Haunty Beach, did and do have a responsibility to set Baby Trix up with an appropriate library of reading material. And I read 44,401 pages, so you know that I did read some chunkers in there too. This video will cover my Battle of the Books winner, my book superlatives, and my 2021 highlights and insights. So let's get started. 2021 was a year of many firsts. First and foremost, it was my first year ever having a YouTube channel, which has certainly been an experience. But I really do enjoy engaging with other booktubers and bookish people on books and authors that we both enjoy. It was also my first time ever making a TBR. Typically, I just move from book to book, usually reading several at once, and it's usually based on my mood. So the practice of creating a TBR list I found to be completely stressful, and is actually something that I won't be continuing into 22. And it was my first year ever making a Battle of the Books. Essentially, Battle of the Books is like a sports bracket, where you indicate your favorite book read each month. Then you narrow down to your favorite book each season, then the first and second half of the year, and you end with one winner. So as a surprise to literally no one, These Violent Delights was my favorite book read this past year. I haven't read the sequel yet, but I am dying to. Quite possibly, literally dying to. These Violent Delights is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920s Shanghai. It's an incredible book with complex characters in a setting so rich and dense that it almost becomes a character itself. And it's very, very violent, so basically all of my favorite things. Superlatives. Now I want to give some special mentions to some of the most something books that I've read this year. Most inspiring. The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. My personal spirituality involves a healthy dose of Taoism, and I found the Tao of Pooh made relevant some of the principles found in the Tao Te Ching. The sequel, however, The Tale of Piglet, is nothing more than a ridiculous rant by a crusty old boomer, so keep that in mind and choose carefully. Most surprising. The Newspaper Club by Beth Vrabel. This middle grade novel is about a young girl who starts her own local newspaper. The LOL Award. Most funny. The Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink. This middle grade novel had me laughing out loud multiple times. All the Feels. Most heartwarming. The Newspaper Club by Beth Vrabel. This book had a surprising amount of depth that gave space to the emotions of a middle grader. Heavy. Most heartbreaking. The Deathless Girls by Kiran Millwood Hargrove. This is a fantasy origin story about the brides of Frankenstein. It's very emotionally heavy, weaving fantastical elements through the very real history of the genocide of the Romani people. The Bummer Award. Most disappointing. Snow White with the Red Hair. I wanted to like this one so badly. The anime was adorable, but this book just had no depth. Most important. I read a lot of books on social justice and racism this year, mostly nonfiction. And while I definitely recommend White Too Long for Christians and Jesus and John Wayne for historians, I think that the most important and impactful fiction within this realm was The 12 Tribes of Hattie by Ayana Mathis. This is an incredible portrait of a woman and her children and how their lives define and were defined by moments in American history. Most popular. And by this, I don't mean the most hyped or the most talked about book this year. I mean a book that I believe would be loved by a diverse group of readers. And this is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix Harrow. This is a book about books and a love letter to readers everywhere. It's deep enough that it's worth the read and light enough that anyone can read it. Insights. I learned a lot about myself as a reader this year. I was reading within a pretty limited range of books and I didn't even know it. So through exploring different genres, I learned that I like a lot more than I thought I did. And for what I don't like, I am in a better position to articulate why I don't like it. My biggest insight was that I actually don't hate romance as much as I originally thought I did. I just like romance under very specific conditions. It's not the sole focus of the story. Both characters are entirely developed characters with their own worldview, personalities, and hobbies and interests. And in fantasy, the romance has to come in equal measures of violence, or I'm simply not interested. Some examples of romances that I don't hate: These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, These Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, and the Havoc series by C.M. Stunek. Second, I really love revenge plots. I already knew that, but now I'm just really aware of it. You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno, A Lesson in Vengeance, and Bad Blue Bloods. I am very unforgiving of a weak female protagonist. It is my biggest turnoff in a book. Some writers try to get around having a lame female protagonist by having her be #not like other girls, and I can't stand that. An example of that would be Snow White with the red hair, or the chick from The Hating Game. Better examples of female protagonists can be found in A Spindle Shattered by Alix E. Harrow, or The Secret Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I don't actually care for contemporary or urban fantasies. In fact, the only contemporary books I'll read are contemporary romances. And I don't really love those either. I just use them as sort of palate cleansers between fantasies. Like sorbet. Highlights. I do want to point out and recognize some of the best books that I read this year and give them a sort of honorable mention in case they didn't win Battle of the Books or get a superlative nod. All of these books were 5 stars. A Spindle Splintered by Alix E. Harrow. This is an incredible novella that reimagines Sleeping Beauty with a power punch of agency and grit. The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. I am here for the amount of graphic novels I've read this year that are about self-love and acceptance in the face of gender performance and sexuality. Dark Blood Comes from the Feet by Emma J. Gibbon. This was a gift from my husband, who understands my obsession with the macabre on a supremely intuitive level, and this is a fantastic book for readers of speculative fiction, violence, and gore. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is a powerful novel about the marks and impressions we leave on others within a lifetime. Now, looking ahead, my 2021 goal was 200 books, and I successfully met that goal. I read 44,401 pages with an average of 122 pages per day. Now, I've officially set my Goodreads goal for 2022 at a much more reasonable 100 books. But I'm also hoping to read 27,000 pages next year with an average of 75 pages per day. I'm hoping that this will help me not shy away from the chunkier books and give me some breathing room to read them more slowly over time. And finally, it's time for a giveaway. I love doing these giveaways because it's how I share the books that I love with all of you. The giveaway for this 2021 wrap-up is none other than a new copy of These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This was my favorite book of 2021, and I can't wait to share it with you. The giveaway itself will be hosted over on Instagram, and I'll be posting from spellbound_bookwitch right here. And all you have to do to enter the giveaway is like and comment on the post that says giveaway. That's it. You don't have to be following me, although it would be really cool if you did. But really, I just love this book so much that I want it in your hands so that we can talk about it. But I'll include a link in the description box below too. All right, that's it from me today. Down in the comments, let me know what books you read in 2021 and what I should be sure to put on my reading list for 2022. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved it, hit subscribe. Take care, Happy New Year, and as always, happy reading.